Welcome, initiates. Pull up a chair and watch your step on these cold, ancient stones. We're back in the decaying archives of the Sorcerer's Tower, and today's explainer is, well, it's a dark one. We're diving straight into the dangerous intersection of ambition and arcane knowledge, reviewing the moral failures of those who came before you, specifically looking at the haunting, shadowy lessons left behind in Johann Wolfgang von Goethe's supernatural parables.
Here is the syllabus of moral failures etched into the board today. We've got Two Paths to Ruin, The Illusion of Competence, The Price of Shortcuts, Hubris and Compounding Chaos, and finally, Reverence for True Mastery. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Two Paths to Ruin, focusing on Goethe's supernatural parables.
So, Goethe gives us these incredibly dark, folklore-inspired tales where supernatural forces inevitably, and usually violently, spin totally out of control the second they end up in mortal hands. And looking at his masterworks, you really see two distinct stages of human ambition. On one hand, you've got Faust, which is this grand, sweeping tragedy of ultimate, boundless ambition. But then you contrast that with The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is exactly what we're focusing on today. It's a much more grounded cautionary ballad that warns against the petty, short-sighted arrogance of a total novice. Both deal with magic slipping from a mortal's grasp, but The Apprentice is all about a severe lack of humility and boundaries.
Moving on to Section 2, The Illusion of Competence and Knowing the Limits.
Now, this is a dangerous and honestly super common illusion hidden right in the shadows of novice ambition. It's the fundamental difference between initiation and mastery. Initiation is literally just learning the magic words to kick off a process, right? But mastery? Mastery is possessing the deep, hard-won knowledge to actually control that process, and, most importantly, to stop it. The apprentice falls right into this trap. He assumes that just because he can animate a broom, he's somehow conquered the arcane arts, which is a fatally foolish assumption to make.
Just look at this line from the archives. He learns the magic words to start a chore, but lacks the knowledge to stop it. Imagine the creeping dread sitting in here. Picture the dark, freezing waters surging across the cracked stone floor of the tower, and the apprentice realizing with absolute, paralyzing terror that he cannot stop the relentless magic he so carelessly let loose. It's a harsh lesson. Knowing how to wake a dark force definitely doesn't mean you know how to survive it.
Which brings us to Section 3, The Price of Shortcuts and Avoiding the Labor.
What's the incredibly cowardly motive behind this whole tragedy? Why cast the forbidden spell in the first place? Simply to get out of doing the hard, physical labor of carrying water. It's a tragic three-step progression. Step 1, seek a shortcut to avoid manual labor. Step 2, invoke unearned power that you really don't understand. And Step 3, suffer relentless chaos instead of achieving any sort of true efficiency. The poem is screaming at us that trying to cheat the natural order only summons a haunting flood of consequences. The shortcut literally just becomes an inescapable nightmare.
Next up is Section 4, Hubris and Compounding Chaos, The Axe and the Flood.
Okay, so the dark waters are now rising to his waist, total panic is setting in, and the apprentice has to react. If we grade his moral failures here, it's basically a cascading checklist of ethical disasters. First, his hubris entirely blinds him to any rational problem solving. Second, instead of just seeking help from someone who knows better, his pride isolates him. And third, that isolation leads to desperate, irrational violence. Instead of finding a way to reverse the spell, he actually grabs an axe to try and forcefully split the enchanted broom.
2. That is the terrifying number of brooms he creates. Bringing a heavy axe down on enchanted wood doesn't end the spell, it violently births a second broom. He mathematically doubles his disaster. It perfectly shows how hubris causes us to compound our mistakes rather than fix them. That physical, freezing flood in the ancient tower, it becomes a direct mirror of his own compounding errors. Finally, we reach Section 5, Reverence for True Mastery and Restoring the Order.
All that relentless splashing, the frantic terror, the chaos, the cold, ancient silence of the tower is only restored when the old master sorcerer finally returns from the shadows. And this resolution teaches us a stark, necessary lesson in reverence. Just contrast the frantic chaos of the apprentice, who is completely defined by his pride, his short-sightedness, and the premature application of knowledge, with the true master. The master embodies deep expertise, profound discipline, and hierarchical wisdom. Order isn't restored by desperate violence, it's restored by a single authoritative command. It is the striking difference between the drowning splatter of a novice and the unwavering control of someone who has truly earned their power. As the dark waters recede from the stone floors and our exam review concludes, I'm going to leave you in the shadows with one final, chilling thought. What ethical cost are you willing to pay for unearned power? Thank you for walking through these decaying archives with me in today's Explainer. Study these lessons well, respect the strict boundaries of your competence, and I'll see you for our next review.